Level 1. Surviving. No rules, no routine, no plan. Every day starts in reaction. Something happens, the parent responds. Something else happens, the parent responds again. There is no strategy. There is only the next 5 minutes. The child sets the schedule because nobody else has. Bedtime happens when exhaustion wins. Meals happen when someone remembers. Most parents at this level aren't failing. They're drowning. Diana Baumrind spent decades studying what children actually need, and the answer wasn't enrichment or stimulation. It was predictability. A child whose world has no consistent pattern doesn't experience that as freedom. They experience it as threat. The nervous system reads chaos as danger. And a nervous system in danger cannot learn, cannot regulate, cannot rest. The result isn't a spontaneous child. It's an anxious one. Children don't need a perfect parent. They need a present one. Level 2. Waking up. Something shifts. A difficult week. A moment where the parent looks at their child and sees something they don't want to see. And for the first time, a deliberate decision. A bedtime. A mealtime. A limit on screens. Not from research, from noticing. When things are predictable, the house breathes differently. They're right. Consistent routines reduce behavioral problems measurably. The child's nervous system responds to predictability the way an adult's does, with relief, with the quiet sense that the world is manageable. This is the beginning. It isn't elegant, but you cannot build anything without it. A child doesn't need a perfect schedule. They just need to know what comes next. Level 3. Controlling. Rules exist, but warmth doesn't. The parent sets expectations, enforces consequences, demands obedience. The house runs, but something is missing, and the child feels it before they can name it. This is authoritarian parenting. High demandingness, low responsiveness. The research on its long-term effects is uncomfortable. Children raised here tend to obey, but develop anxiety, imposter syndrome, and a dependence on external approval to feel worthy. They perform well. They don't always feel well. The parent at level 3 is trying. They just haven't found the other half yet. Discipline without love teaches a child to fear, not to grow. Level 4. Building. The warmth arrives. Structure and emotional availability begin to work together. Rules exist, and so does repair. When something goes wrong, the parent doesn't just enforce. They reconnect. They explain. They come back. This is the foundation of authoritative parenting. 2 dimensions working together for the first time: demandingness and warmth. Neither alone is enough. Together, they begin producing something research consistently confirms: a child who feels both safe and capable. It's imperfect, but it's the right direction. Rules without warmth build walls. Warmth without rules builds nothing. Level 5. Thinking. The question changes. It used to be, how do I stop this? Now it's, why is this happening? The tantrum stops being an inconvenience. It becomes information about something unmet. The defiance stops being disrespect. It becomes a child testing whether the boundaries are real. Dr. Daniel Siegel's research shows that parental self-awareness directly shapes a child's developing nervous system. A parent who has examined their own triggers transmits less of them. A parent who hasn't passes them on. Quietly. In the moments they're most certain nobody is watching. Intentional parenting isn't about being perfect. It's about being awake. Children absorb everything, the calm and the chaos equally. They don't understand your stress, but they feel every bit of it. Level 6. balancing. High warmth, high structure. Both simultaneously. The parent validates the feeling and enforces the consequence. Holds the crying child and holds the boundary that caused the tears.
Allows real mistakes with real outcomes. Because a child who has never failed safely has no idea how to fail anywhere else. This is authoritative parenting at its fullest. The most robustly researched finding in 60 years of developmental psychology. Across cultures and income levels, children raised here consistently show stronger emotional regulation, better academic outcomes, and lower rates of anxiety. Hard in practice, because being warm in a hard moment and firm in a loving one simultaneously requires regulation most parents were never taught. That's the work. A child's world is supposed to be small and safe. Financial pressure, work stress, adult fear, none of it belongs there. When we bring it in, it costs them something they can't name yet. Level 7. Hovering. Here's the level nobody talks about, because it looks like love. The parent at level 7 has overcorrected. They saw the damage of level 3 and swung to the opposite extreme. They protect. They intervene. They smooth every obstacle before the child reaches it. And they mean well, completely. But research on helicopter parenting tells a consistent story. Children of overprotective parents show higher anxiety, lower self-efficacy, and weaker peer relationships. A child's nervous system develops through exposure to tolerable stress, conflict, mistakes, frustration, resolution. When a parent removes every obstacle, the nervous system never learns to navigate. Love isn't surveillance. Love is support that allows a child to grow into someone who doesn't need you forever. Protecting your child from every difficulty doesn't prepare them for life. It just delays the difficulty until you're not there to soften it. Level 8. Trusting. The parent steps back, deliberately, confidently. Japan has a documented practice called mimamoru, watch and protect. Deliberate non-intervention. Adults fully present, but consciously restrained. Children resolve their own conflicts, carry genuine responsibility, navigate their own frustrations. A 2023 University of Michigan poll found that less than half of parents with children aged 5 to 8 regularly allow independent activities, even simple ones. Most parents say independence matters. Most don't practice it. The parent at level 8 understands. Trust isn't the absence of protection. It's the highest form of it. The hardest thing in parenting isn't doing more. It's trusting enough to do less. Level 9. Guiding. The parent stops managing behavior. They start building character. The question is no longer, how do I get my child to do what I need? It's, who is this child becoming? And what do they need from me to get there? At this level, compliance becomes resilience. Obedience becomes critical thinking. Performance becomes genuine emotional intelligence. The parent becomes a guide, present, attuned, honest, who understands that their child's eventual independence isn't a loss. It's the entire point. Your child doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be honest about who you are, what you're feeling, and what you're still learning. Level 10. Releasing. The highest level isn't a technique. It's a letting go. The parent asks the question most spend a lifetime avoiding. How do I prepare them for a life without me? Developmental researcher Ellen Galinsky identified the departure stage as one of the most significant and most under-examined transitions in a parent's life. The child leaves, and the parent must reckon with what they built, what they held too tightly, and what they let go of too late. At level 10, the parent understands their job completely. Not to make childhood easier, not to smooth every path, but to raise a person, whole, capable, resilient, who can navigate a world the parent won't always be in. Their job was never to be needed forever. It was to become
Slowly and deliberately, unnecessary. 10 levels. Most parents land somewhere in the middle without having chosen it. Most move upward slowly, one hard moment, one quiet shift at a time, without knowing they were climbing. You don't need to reach level 10 tomorrow. Just one level above where you are right now. That's the only distance that matters. This was never about being a perfect parent. It was always about being an awake one. Which level do you recognize yourself in right now? And which one are you working toward? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.